In today's video, we'll be looking at why this vintage lens is my favourite for Fuji X mount. I've had this lens since Christmas time when I bought it with my Canon P camera. What attracted me to this lens in particular was the fact it's pretty fast at 1.8 and it's quite small. But from what other reviews have suggested, that it produces really high quality images, and there's been a lot of parallels to Leica's Summicron, the Canon 50mm 1.8 LTM lens. The lens was originally made in Japan and originally released in 1956. It's a Leica thread mount lens with a 40mm thread. It's a planar construction, both the front and the back elements are coated. The price I got this lens for was pretty cheap, even for its standards. I got it for £60 and I imported it from Japan. So add customs fees was around about £75. After using this lens on my Canon P, I thought maybe it's time to try it on a different camera. I decided to use it on my Fuji X-E2. It was a logical step because I already had the adapter because I've been shooting my Jupiter 50mm lens. I like the tactile feel that you get from a vintage lens, and using that on a digital camera, you get the dreamy results, the nice bokeh that you usually get. Another perk about using a 50mm vintage lens on a Fuji X camera was the crop factor. There's a crop factor of 1.5, so a 50mm lens on 35mm translates to about 76mm on a Fuji sensor. This gives a really nice effect, and it's a focal length that I'd never really thought about before, and it's added something to my images, and it's quite inspiring shooting something in a different focal length. Another reason why I really like this lens is just you can take it anywhere with you because it's so small, and it offers a lot despite its small size. I mean, this is typical of like a thread mount lenses, but it's just such a great asset to have, and it looks really nice on this camera, and it helps. So I'm natively a film shooter, so having something that's really tactile and you can get to controls easily on a digital camera is a real bonus. I've been taking this camera more or less everywhere with me when I'm not shooting film. It's quite nice to have as a daily snapshot camera. But I recently used this on a project. I was asked to make some photos for a magazine. This will be featured in an upcoming video. I shot some film for that video, but I also used this camera and this lens to shoot the digital ones. It made real sense because it's more of a street photography style, and you don't want a whopping great big camera when you're shooting those kind of photos. You want something discreet, but something that's sharp and it can be quite fast. It ticks all the boxes. It's a really, really good lens. If you're looking for a cheap 50mm equivalent, or to get that 76mm crop factor on a Fuji mount, then this is a really good option. I've got this for about £60, but they regularly go between £60 to about £100. And it's a real good option for that price point. It's a lot cheaper than the Fuji lenses, but if you like the manual focus and the manual aperture control, and you want something that looks great, then surely this is a good option for you. Leica thread mount lenses is a good versatile system to get into because they can be adapted to a wide range of digital cameras, but they also there's a wide range of Leica thread mount cameras available. And also, if you do want to go into the world of an M mount, it's really, really easy to adapt these, and there's a wealth of adapters available on the market to adapt them to M mount cameras as well. So if you want to build up a little ecosystem which of interchangeable lenses between your cameras, then a Leica thread mount 50mm lens can go a long way. Some drawbacks with this lens, there are very few, but it's got this little affinity lock, so when you pull it to affinity, it locks in place. So you have to push the button down to unlock it. So once you get used to it, it doesn't take a millisecond to do. But if you're out in the field and you're shooting, and then you put it on affinity, and then you quickly want to switch to something else, sometimes you can be like, oh, wait a minute, it's locked up. But to be honest, that is just, your hand's already there anyway, so you can push the button. It's quite well designed in that way. The build quality on these lenses are built really, really well. I was using my Jupiter lenses on this camera for quite a long time, and the jump up in build quality, you do really, really notice it. You don't have the lingering thought in the back of your mind that all the blades are going to fall out of the camera or something's going to fall off. It's really well made, and I think it seamlessly sits on a camera like this. If you're liking what you're seeing, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also use code LAT35 to get 10% off on Dehancer Pro. Dehancer Pro is a colour grading software which is a film emulation, where you can fine-tune the details and use different film stocks, everything from portrait all the way up to Fuji Natura. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can look at the links in the description below, where you can buy prints or you can use the affiliate links provided.